Saquon Barkley in just a second, but first Jazz, Rockets, Game 5, Donovan Mitchell. Tough basket right there, and one. God, he's been so good.
Listen, he had 2 points in the first half, and then he outscored the Rockets himself in the third quarter. Not only get them back in the game, to turn an 8-point deficit into a lead going into the fourth. I hope he's not hurt badly. He had to leave the game. Foot injury. It looked like he banged knees. They're calling it a foot injury. I hope he's okay.
You know that third quarter what it's going to be like, Nick?
What?
It's going to be like me going to play basketball with the staff today. I'm coming after Deontay's head.
Oh, okay.
We're playing ball at Columbia.
Man, he got a little head, man. You got to be...
A little head?
Man, like...
What happened to it? Did it shrink?
Yeah, he shrunk in head, man.
No.
Not that bright.
Alec Burks, baseline.
He can't even wear no brim on that big old thing. He got 4 head per day.
5 head, man. Him and Rihanna. Oh, I can't believe I said that on TV. I love her. Go ahead.
Sticking with the game, this game, Gerald Green with the steal, vicious fast break dunk. Rockets are moving on.
Man, they love him in Houston.
What'd the owner tell you about him the days after they signed him?
He was emphatic about giving him a contract, not only for the rest of the season, but how important he was to the overall chemistry of the team. I was like, Gerald Green?
Gerald Green, he's been great.
The other Game 5 last night, Pelly's Warriors, Drew Holiday with the spin move, the impossible. Look at this pass.
What do you call the spin move in the lane, CC, and then kick out to an open three-point shooter?
The LeBron?
Oh, Jenna Wolf answers the question for you.
Also a poor man's Donovan Mitchell.
So, a homeless man's LeBron. Poor man just keep going down the totem pole. Poor man's Donovan.
I almost put one of our staff members' name in there, but I just...
Well, oh, yeah. Can't poverty shame.
Let's play Take Your Pick. We got some good ones here. Starting with a couple new faces in the Big Apple. Sam Darnold with the Jets. Saquon Barkley with the Giants. Jets CEO says that drafting Darnold will go down in history as the moment the Jets became great. So who has the better future in New York? Darnold or Saquon? CC, take your pick.
I believe both players are superstars. I believe both of them can handle the New York market. But when you get yourself a quarterback, I learned this from Nick Wright. Well, I learned this playing in the NFL. When you got a good quarterback, you got a good thing. And the overall value that quarterback brings to the franchise, it supersedes any other position. So Sam Darnold with the Jets.
You're totally right that a good quarterback supersedes the value of everything else. But I'm not certain Sam Darnold's a good NFL quarterback. I am certain Saquon Barkley's going to be a good NFL running back. Saquon, to me, the brighter future, he's the only one that I'm certain will be a great player. So I'm going with Saquon Barkley. It's the safer bet for me in this case. So I say Saquon. Now, if Darnold is what you say, then it will be Sam Darnold. But I'm not as certain about that as you are.
All right, last night, both the Pelicans and the Jazz were eliminated from the playoffs. Both of these young teams have room to grow. Which team has a more promising future, New Orleans or Utah? Nick, take your pick.
I'm going with New Orleans because they have a guy who already is an MVP candidate. He will finish third in the MVP balloting this year, Anthony Davis, as opposed to a guy who could become an MVP candidate in Donovan Mitchell, and he's not very old. He's 25 years old in Anthony Davis. So I say the New Orleans Pelicans.
I got to go with the Pelicans. Also, I see where the Pelicans are right now with the brow, and instantly they can be so much better that Utah can't do. They can sign Boogie Cousins. They can sign Rondo. Their ability to get better, I believe, supersedes what Utah can do, even though they do have, I believe, a superstar. But how do they get another superstar to Utah? That happened once, and that happened a magic of Stockton and Malone. I believe it's hard for them to duplicate that again.
Right, unless Rudy Gobert greatly improves as an offensive player, because right now he's just a defensive superstar.
Yeah, that right there I wouldn't bet on, Jenna.
I wouldn't bet on.
All right. The Rockets once again showed why they were the best team all season, eliminating the Jazz in 5 games last night. Now they get to face the Warriors in the Western Conference Final. So who is more vital to knocking off Golden State, Chris Paul or James Harden? The question now after last night. CC, take your pick.
This is a tough call here because both of them are very, very important. Both of them vital. If Houston is able to get to the finals, both of them are going to have an excellent series. But I'm going to go with CP3, Chris Paul. And the reason why is because the matchup with Steph Curry. In these matchups, historically, he has not played as well as Steph Curry. Steph Curry, he hadn't been able to play the type of defense on Steph Curry. So to me, CP3, what he can do, not only offensively, but he'll be matched up against Steph pretty much the whole series.
Jenna, you brought up CP3's defense earlier in the show. It's an underrated part of his game. Best defensive point guard of a generation in my eyes in CP3. Maybe the best since Gary Payton. So I understand that. But if you're the league MVP, and this is your chance to beat the team that has a couple MVPs, it's got to be James Harden. There is no path to victory for the Rockets that doesn't involve James Harden playing 5 games at an MVP level, 6 games at an MVP level. He's only played 4 games total this postseason. Rounds 1 and 2 at the level he's going to have to play consistently night in, night out, starting on Monday.
And part of the reason why you're
James
saying
Harden.
that is because you believe Steph and KD will play at a high level.
Absolutely right, 100%.
All right, tonight the Celtics will try to close out their series against Philly. Last game, the Sixers defense showed up holding Boston to their fewest points of the series. Who will win Game 5 tonight, Boston or Philly? Nick, take your pick.
Vegas has me a little confused on this. Vegas has installed Philly as a slight favorite on the road. I don't understand that. Here's what I know. Boston has not yet has not yet lost at home these playoffs. Boston, through the first 4 games of this series, looked like the better team, clearly the better coach team, and the team that, if it is a close game, you much more trust to execute down the stretch. For all those reasons, I say Boston. I think Boston wins tonight. I think they closed out in 5.
Jenna, you're not going to like one of the things I say, and I think you're going to like the other thing.
I'll pick which one.
Okay. TJ McConnell.
You got it.
I believe he's a huge part to the victory for the 76ers.
Okay.
So I know you like TJ. Believe he should have been in there a greater portion of minutes than he was in there. Got the start in game number 4 to get to game number 5. But I believe the Sixers win this game. For some type of way, I believe that they play better defense. Their shot selection's got to be better. I believe if they hit those shots, they get to win to build force Game 6 back in Philadelphia.
Really, both of you have the Sixers?
I said the Celtics, but that's okay. Way to be locked in right there. I understand there was a lot of options there you could have picked out of the air.
Did you pick out what you liked from what I said and what you didn't like? Come on, Jenna.
No worries, Jenna Wolf. It's all right.
I didn't like that you picked the
It's a
Sixers.
complicated
I knew
question.
that part, yeah.
She didn't like it so much.
But you like TJ.
I do like TJ
Okay.
a lot. I do like TJ. On a recent podcast, Zach Lowe said that people in NBA circles are speculating that the Thunder may be better off trading Russell Westbrook, particularly because of his large contract that still has $200 million remaining. So should OKC trade Russ or keep him? Chris Carter, take your pick.
Wow. Now, after the max contract, right, which they gave him last year, it's 1 year before they can trade him, so that's what makes Russ available to be traded now?
Correct. Supermax. They aim Supermax, so you got to wait a year.
I got to get off of Russ, man.
Oh, my God.
I got to get off of Russ because I just don't believe, after what we've seen with Harden, that was an organization, KD, that was a Russ thing, and now Paul George and Melo, what type of player does he make better? Like, what type of player wants to go there and have their career there, given the firepower we have in the West? Man, let's trade Russ. Let's reset that. Let's send that talent somewhere else. I believe it's better for the NBA if they trade Russ.
Okay, you got to keep Russ. Maybe you change the coach. Maybe you try to have a come-to-Jesus meeting with him. Maybe you hypnotize him. I don't know. But you have to keep Russell Westbrook and try to get a better version of Russell Westbrook out of him. Because you trade Russell Westbrook, you become what people were worried Oklahoma City was going to be when they moved from Seattle. A wasteland in the NBA. A place that can't attract superstars. A team that is what we were worried Milwaukee had become for a very long time, where guys don't want to go there. You cannot draft KD, Russ, and Harden and make one finals with him and then get rid of all of them. You just can't. You have to keep Russell Westbrook. He needs to be better. You got to keep him.
So just to redeem myself, you say keep him, you say trade him.
Well done, Jenna.
Woo! You got that right, Jenna. Coming up, how much will the Saints miss Mark Ingram during his 4-game suspension? We'll tell you why he won't be playing those 4 games next on First Things First.
Next rapid fire, Jenna, if you don't.
Remember your first